Mike, check 1 2 1 2. It is the Y2K Collector, and I am back on a Friday night. Hopefully, you have had a great week. It's treated you well. It is a calm Friday evening for me over here, back at the Batcave. And what I'm doing tonight, well, I am pulling out all of my PS Vita games so that I can chronicle them into the Game Eye app and make sure that I have a pretty good record or a pretty good account of all of the games that I have in my collection. And whenever I do this, I usually like to get the camera out and just talk to the good folks of the Y2K community, and just share what's on my mind. And what I kind of wanted to share tonight were just a few tips for a situation that I think we all find ourselves in. And that is the position rather of being broke. Um, at some point or another, we all find ourselves with not as much expendable cash. We find ourselves where probably we have to do a little bit more budgeting than other times, and we just don't have the funds to run out and buy more games as much as we would want to. As much as we might have a bunch of games on our buying wish list, we're just not always in a position where we can just run out and buy all the games that we want. And so we find other ways to entertain ourselves with the hobby of retro game collecting. Of course, we can go and play our video games. Obviously, playing the games that you have in your collection is just, one of the first things that you want to do, especially if you have a sizable collection. But there are a few other things that you can do to enjoy the retro collecting hobby and just retro games in general, even when you're broke. And so I figured I'd share some of those with you because the weekend is upon us and some of us are broke. Some of us might be in a broke position and we may not be in a position where we can run out tomorrow and buy a bunch of games. So I'm going to share some of those with you now. And you're going to laugh at the first one. And the first one really is going to a dedicated retro game store. Now, you're going to laugh and you're going to say, well, why 2K? Dude, if you're broke, why the heck are you going to go to a video game store? Now, I'm not saying to go to like a GameStop. I'm not saying that you should go to a Target or Walmart. What I'm saying is you want to go to an actual retro video game store. And why do I say that? I say that because usually at most dedicated retro game stores, there's more there than just the games. They usually have pretty cool action figures. They usually have the old school kiosks with, a PlayStation 2 or maybe a PlayStation 1 or a GameCube where you can actually play the games for free. Right? I know that there's one game store that I go to that they usually have a GameCube kiosk and a PlayStation 2 kiosk. And on the GameCube, they usually have Super Smash Bros. And on the PlayStation, they usually have Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So usually when I go in there just to browse or see what they've got in there, if I have a minute, I'll stop in there and I'll play a little bit of Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And so the reason why I say going to a game store when you're broke is because you're still able to enjoy the hobby of retro collecting by window shopping, by going to the store, and maybe you'll discover a game and see that there's a game there that you never heard of before. And you might put that on your mental checklist. I never knew that this game existed. Maybe I'll add it to my checklist for when I do run into some quick cash and I can come back and purchase a game like that. I'll do that. So going to a retro game store is more than just going there to buy games. You can discover games. You can talk to the store owners because usually they're way more helpful than, you would find at like a GameStop or at like a Target. They're more knowledgeable and you can actually engage in conversation, play video games for free, do some window shopping, and discover some games that you may have never even realized were in the store because you were probably so hyped up looking for, you're probably laser focused looking for something else, that now that you have the time to slow down and window shop, you may actually discover that the store has some pretty cool games or some pretty cool systems. Now, again, this will only really work if you're going to a dedicated retro game store because that's the type of stuff that you usually find at stores like that. But that's one of the things that I typically like to do when I am broke. Browsing, window shopping, and playing free games on the kiosk is one of the best ways that you can still enjoy the hobby and indulge in retro gaming without necessarily spending a dime. That's one. Part two, one of the other things that I do when I am absolutely broke and I can't go out and buy new games is I go on YouTube, right? For me, the only thing, if I can't play the game, the next best thing is to watch someone else play it. And there are tons of videos on YouTube where you can watch someone maybe playing a game that you've always wanted to play, or maybe even reviewing a game that you've never played before. And sometimes I'm able to live vicariously through some of the folks on YouTube that are playing some of the games that I've always wanted to play. In fact, a lot of times YouTube is one of the ways that I'm able to discover and learn about games that maybe I never heard of before, or maybe games that I heard of, but I just wasn't sure about the gameplay. So I'll jump on YouTube and I'll look up the video, a video of the game, and I'll watch a person play the game and discover and see how good it really is. And based on what I'm seeing in the gameplay footage, it will either draw me closer to the game, or it may make me say, you know what, that game isn't all I thought it was chalked up to be, and it might turn me off. So don't sleep on gameplay footage. If you ever really want to kind of see what a game is about, or see how cool a game is, just hop on YouTube, type in long play of whatever game it is that you might be interested, grab a bag of popcorn, and see what it's about. And it's another way that you can actually enjoy a retro game without spending a dime. You don't have to pay for it. I guess if anything you're paying for is Wi-Fi, but YouTube videos are free, and you can jump on there and watch all the footage you want, enjoy all the gameplay footage you want, and you don't have to spend a dime, and you're still able to enjoy the retro collecting hobby, and you're still able to discover something new, which is always fun about retro collecting. Being able to discover something new, learn about games that you never heard of before, or even see, if there's a game out there that you might want to try out. So don't sleep on YouTube. All right. I've got one more for you, and this one does require maybe a smartphone because you will need an app for this one. But another one of the things that I like to do when I'm broke is I like to go on the GameEye app. Why? Because the GameEye app has something called the encyclopedia, and I doubt that they have every single game created in that encyclopedia, but they do have a humongous library in the GameEye app. And sometimes when I just want to learn about games, or I want to learn, let's say I want to see how many shoot 'em ups are available on the Super Nintendo, you can go into the GameEye app and filter down just to see all of the North American shoot 'em ups on the Super Nintendo and just scroll through. And in each game, they give you like a little bit of a bio on the game. And then underneath that, there are a bunch of links, right? There's a link to eBay, so you can see how much that game is currently being priced for on eBay. There's a link to price charting, so you can see the history of the pricing history of the game. There's usually a link to YouTube, and that YouTube link will take you straight to gameplay footage of the game. And so the GameEye app is just a really great place to kind of just study up on games that maybe you never heard of, or maybe games you heard of, but you just didn't know how good they were. The cool thing about GameEye app is that it also gives you like the Metacritic scores, so you're able to see like what the general public thinks of the game. And there's just a ton of information in the GameEye app. You can really do a lot more with it than just, catalog your games. You can actually learn about video games and learn about different gaming genres just by hopping on the app and seeing what's out there. And here's the best part. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything to download the GameEye app and hit up their encyclopedia and just kind of explore. I mean, that's one of the things that I love to do. When I don't have, when I'm done playing, games for the day, or when I've had a good gaming session in, and maybe I'm too broke to be able to go out and buy anything else, I love to jump on the GameEye app and just learn. Or maybe I'll go on there and take a look at what's in my collection and jump on price charting and see if the price has jumped up or if it's dropped down. Or I'll hit the link over to YouTube and see, okay, not YouTube rather, but eBay, and see, okay, what are people listing this for today? So the GameEye app is another great way to still indulge in the collecting hobby without spending any money. So hopefully you found this helpful, especially if you're broke, like me, and you don't have the opportunity to go out and buy any games today. I gave you 3 things that you can still do to have a retro weekend and still enjoy the hobby. If you're broke, swing by your nearest game store and see what they've got there. See what free games you can play. See if they got any kiosks. See what posters they have up or what action figures they have. If you don't feel like going outside, hit up YouTube. Check out some videos on some of the games that you maybe have wanted to see, or see what the games are about, and let YouTube kind of just open your eyes and show you what's out there. And then last but not least, if you're feeling a little bit lazy and you just want to lounge around in bed and don't feel like jumping on the TV, hit up GameEye app. It's a wealth of knowledge. It's an encyclopedia right in your hands, and it'll give you all the information you need to know about your favorite games, and it puts it right at your fingertips. I'm the Y2K Collector. Hopefully these 3 tips help you out this weekend, and if you're broke like me, I guess we're going to be on YouTube, GameEye, and we're going to be doing a whole bunch of window shopping. Have a good weekend, y'all. Take it easy.